Hello, good morning, Edyta.
Good morning, Leah. How
Good.
are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's nearly the evening here in Spain where I am, but still got the energy, just.
Fantastic.
Thank you so much for joining us on this parenting kind of program interviews that we're running as part of the response to COVID-19 and parents being locked down at home. We thought this kind of conversation would just be so beneficial for all the parents out there, kind of pulling their hair out at the moment, wondering what to do. And yeah, so I'm Leah Black. As you know, we met last week. I'm a youth coach and mentor, and you are Edyta Wydmanski, and you are a teacher of kindergarten age.
Kindergarten first and grade and first and second grade. Yes.
Thank you. And you're also a mum of two teens. Now, let me get names right. 13-year-old Ola
Yes.
and 15-year-old Max.
Correct.
And you're currently in lockdown in Illinois.
Yes.
Okay, right. Oof.
It's
A
a lot.
challenge.
Yes.
So I wondered first if I could ask you why this topic of parenting is important to you
Just parenting in general.
in general, in complete
um,
general at the moment.
I was born and raised in Poland. I came to the United States as a 20-year-old woman, and got married. Went to school, got married, had children in my 30s. And I have been always questioning if I'm doing the right thing. And I am lucky enough to have a wonderful supportive group of women who are also, many of them who are parents, but some of them who are teachers and don't have kids, but have enough experience. So, like I said, with their support, I was able to somehow bring up my children and raise them in a way that even though, like I say, I question my techniques sometimes, but I hope that they are good people. This has always been one of my life goals, to have children and to make sure that they are just good, kind people. And I come from a family that you don't really praise, good deeds. You want others to praise your children or whatever you do. So when I hear someone saying that, my kids are wonderful examples, I'm always happy to hear. And I think that coming from a different cultural background with different set of rules and values and the way I was brought up, and then raising my children in the United States, between the two cultures, between the American and the Polish culture, where we speak Polish at home, where, we try to have all the traditions and everything of that, regular Polish home, yet be in a mainstream culture with English as a mainly spoken language. It's quite a challenge. So,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to balance both right now. So, and like I said, anytime that I can talk children, parenting, and differences and similarities, I'm very open.
Well, that's so interesting because you've mentioned to me before that you're a single mum
Yes.
as well. So
Yes.
that challenge. So not only have you got the challenge of COVID-19 and the lockdown right now, but you're also a single mum. Tell me more about that.
I have been a single mom for about a year now. At first, the marriage was great. We were co-parenting, but with time, we sort of grew apart. There was some abuse going on, alcohol abuse, and my children were growing up seeing those things. And unfortunately, it had a negative effect on them. So at a certain point, my son said, Mom, it's enough. I think it's enough. And when your son tells you, when he is in eighth grade, when he tells you, I think you should leave our dad, I love him, he's my dad, but this is not a good situation for anyone. You have no other choice but to do so. And I did. It was extremely difficult on all of us, even though the kids understood. They were at the point when where they understood what was happening. It was still difficult for them. But thankfully, I let them act out certain things, literally, with having fits and crying fits and throwing fits. Expressing the emotions that way was the only way, because then they would just collapse and cry afterwards. So this kind of therapy may be unconventional, but it worked for them. And then basically the openness and the discussions, always talking, always being there for them, always listening, and spending time. This is like our biggest thing, is that we do spend a lot of time together. And I am lucky enough, being a teacher, to have summers off and then Christmas break and spring break, and we love to travel together. So that's something that definitely keeps us even closer. And I know that being a single parent is extremely challenging. I do have a couple of my friends who are in the same position. And again, we share their experiences and we talk about it, and try to help one another as much as possible. So
Sounds like you've got a good network around
I
you for
do.
support.
I
And
do.
can I just say, you're so brave. And what I loved, I really loved hearing that you've got that kind of communication with your children, that they
Yes.
can speak to you and say that this isn't right, this isn't good. Then, hats off to you for having that relationship with your children.
Thank you.
How does that work in your relationship with the communication? What type of styles of communication do you use and techniques?
Uh, sometimes I bring topics, but a lot of them come from my kids. So whether something happens at school or with their friends or wherever we are, they will just start talking. Max is in the age that he um, will bring controversial topics, for example, abortion, to a dinner table on Sunday.
Okay.
Sometimes that puts a halt on conversations, because as much as I'm open, there are certain things that I can't talk about, especially on a Sunday at dinner time. I say that there's a time and place for everything. When we were, for example, in Dominican Republic a couple years ago, the topic of alcohol, smoking, and drug use came up. And we talked about it. And I said, that they see me drinking here and there. That's natural. They saw that I would have a cigarette here and there. And I was open that, yes, I did try marijuana, but it's not for me. I did not like it. I tried it, but it truly wasn't. So then my son said, I had a cigarette, or I tried vaping. And then I just listened. I said, okay, so thank you for telling me. And how did you feel after that? And why did you try? So there's a bunch of questions that followed up, but it was non-judgmental. I never said no to him. I said, you make your own decision. You know the facts. And he is the type of person that reads a lot, and he researches, so he knows the danger. Like, they would say to me, Mom, you can't smoke. I'm like, this is like my vacation type of activity. And they're like, well, but that's dangerous. You can get sick. So they are very much aware, both of them, about the dangers and why it's harmful. So again, it's very open. Basically, there are no topics that are taboo. And sometimes they make me very uncomfortable. But, I try to keep, a stoic face. And sometimes when I don't have an answer, I'll just say, I really don't have an answer for you right now. Can we just pause and then come back to the topic later? And that's usually what happens.
You have such an open relationship with your children, talking about these subjects, even taboo subjects.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
that's fantastic, because
Well,
they can come and speak to you.
Coming from a Polish family where there's lots of things that were being swept under the rug, and you can really talk about many, many topics, I learned from that. And I knew from the get-go that, my parents, I think, did a wonderful job, but it wasn't something that I was going to follow. I wanted my parenting technique to be different. My kids still, even though we have a very open relationship. They still have chores. I'm still a very strict parent.
Good.
They are punished for things. I say that phones are very helpful in keeping discipline at home, because I tell them, I said, you do this, phone is taken away for a week. And I've done that before. So they know that if I say something, I will follow through. And like I said, I've used those phones to my advantage many times. So yeah, so that's part of it too.
Discipline is so important. Working with teenagers for a long time, it's having those boundaries in place, but sticking to the consequences.
Correct.
You can put any rule down, and if you just let it go, or if we don't, mirror what we're expecting, our children or teenagers to do.
They will tell me, Mom, you tell us not to be on our phones, and what are you doing? I'm like, so, but again, they are smart kids. And see, that's another thing. Like, we need to, I keep going back to my childhood, but we had no voice. Children had no voice. My kids have always had a voice. I never treated them like goldfish, just looking pretty and swim along, but they always were to talk and share. And I think that that's very important, to respect them for who they are. And, do I always agree with what they say? No, of course not. But I still listen, and they have a lot of wisdom with how they see the world, and they can help out as well. And I hope that parents can understand that.
So listening there is key.
Yes, it is.
Very key.
And time with your children. It doesn't have to be that you have to do something with them. We try to do puzzles. Now, we are stuck at home. Well, that didn't go so well. Well, mainly because we have 2 cats, and then the cats started walking around the table. But my kids are like, no, this is not something we want to do. And then games usually end in a battle. And, so we try things, and they don't always work. But that's okay. It doesn't mean you stop trying. You just look for something else. Cooking is one of the greatest activities. Cooking and baking, doing things at home. Cleaning, they are always helping, like whenever we have a party or any type of holiday gathering, any type of, and anything that they can help with, they will set up the table, vacuum, help with dishes and this, like, truly. And they will entertain the children or adults. That way, well, they take it after mama, So.
Everyone will be wondering now, what is the key to getting the children to do chores?
You start early on. You just start early on. So they absolutely hated loading and unloading the dishwasher. So I tried, they had like 1 week off, 1 week on. They were always fighting. And I finally said, you know what? I actually love doing the dishwasher. So I'll take care of that. You do your rooms, your laundry, vacuuming, dusting, all that. You just do it. That's it. So, yeah. And so, I have to be flexible too, because my daughter's room is spotless. My son's room, we do not really walk into. He says nobody sees it anyway, so what's the point? But then he is a typical teenager. It's a give and take, It
sounds like you've got a very good system.
Very good. I don't know. It has its own, faults, but I'm trying. Sometimes I lose my patience. So there are some words that are spoken in a louder voice, in which I admit, and then I apologize. But like, I lose my, I lose my cool too. I'm not perfect by any means. And Human. They know it. And yeah, exactly. And I think that that's another thing. It's important for the kids to know that, yes, you are allowed to cry. You're allowed to show your emotions, because a lot of people say, oh, you are so strong. But my kids, more than anybody else, has seen me cry a lot. There's a lot of tears in the past. Um, and now they since we moved out, since we are living just the three of us and the two cats, they're like, Mom, we can tell that you're happy. Like you don't cry anymore. I cry when I'm happy. Like I'm about to cry now, but that's important. Oh, and also the unconditional love is a key. So whenever I lose my cool and I'm not such a great mom, I always tell them, yes, I yell at you, but I still love you. Like no matter what you do, I love you. This is for your own benefit. You know, I'm older, I have more experience, and I know my techniques are not always the best, but I always want what's best for you. And this, like I said, this unconditional love, this feeling that they can come to me no matter what is the most important one. And I sort of didn't have it as a child because I was loved for something that I did, for my good grades or being pretty or, you know, like anything. And then if I didn't do what my parents wanted, then, you know, I was being punished in some way. And that shouldn't be this way. You had your children because you wanted your children. They should be the most important part of your life. They come from your body. I mean, there's no closer relationship than that. And it's from the moment you find out that you carry a child, there's this bond that can never be broken. So, see, yeah. Well, yeah, I can talk about this.
But you can see how much you love your children, and it actually gets me emotional because I can see how much of a really, really good mum you are. And you're a single mum. And that comes with my mum was a single mum when I was growing up. And I know as a child how hard that is for a mum. And I can't even imagine what it must be like right now as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like being at home. And on that note, how are you coping with what's going on at the moment? Because what you've said so far, you're really inspiring me. And I would love
Thank
to,
you.
no,
Thank you.
seriously, I would love to hear more about how you are coping at the moment.
So I am an extremely social human being. There is not one weekend that I'm not out and about or people are not in my house, and I love entertaining. I love being with people. So this to me is like, see, I can never end up in jail because I would literally die the first day. There's just no way. But so the first week that we were, you know, locked up was very difficult for me. I literally could not find a space for myself. And then once we started talking about doing remote learning and started making lesson plans and all that, once I started connecting with families, I've been calling my families. Most of my students, well, all of my students come from bilingual families. So these are parents who came to the States to be in a safe place, and now everything is upside down. Those parents come from um, war-torn countries, you know, and then they come here, and one of them, usually the male, is working, and the female is staying home, taking care of the children, doing all the housework, chores, and everything. And now, as I've been talking to them, a lot of the situation has been reversed. So if the dads were driving cabs or working at restaurants, now they're home, and then the moms went to work in like nursing homes, or they're cleaning houses, doing all the work that they didn't have to before. You know, now they have to support the family. So it's very, very difficult. So like I said, once I started working, I was better. And with my kids, you know, I wanted to have like a schedule for them. I wanted to make the situation as normal as possible. But then I've realized that because we live in this rush world, in this society where we are constantly on the go, and my daughter has been on 4 teams, 2 basketball and 2 volleyball teams in this whole year, basically. The child did not have one evening off. Between Polish school and sport and regular school, she had no downtime because even weekends were taken. So I've realized that for her, it's a blessing. It's a blessing to not have to go anywhere. And she just wanted to calm down, sleep. She rearranged her room like 3 times, which is great. I love her, decorations and everything. And she keeps looking. It's like, oh, we need this, we need that. I'm like, yes, we will do it once we start getting out of our home. We can get you more things. But for now, let's just stick with it. And my son has been playing video games every night since we were locked up. But again, this is something that the kid has not done because of his sports and his activities and school. He's like, Mom, this is like the only time, because then in the summer, I'm always outside. Like, I'm never home. And then I'm like, you know what? Just do whatever. You know what? It's fine. You are safe. You are home. And when we've been, we are talking about the situation, and I'm like, are you afraid? No, because we know the facts. We've been home. We've been locked at home. We don't really see anybody. We are healthy. We don't have any underlying conditions. We don't go shopping. Nobody comes here. So, they understand how the virus spreads. And so to them, we are in a safe place. And I've always been talking about to them, and I know it sounds morbid, but I always say that I want you to be independent, because you never know what life brings. I'm not going anywhere. I am healthy, but things happen. And I want you to be self-sufficient as much as possible. I said, they have a dad here who they see every other weekend, but there is also my brother that they can turn to if anything. So I sort of gave them tools to, if anything were to happen, they know who to turn to, they know who to go to, so they feel safe. And that's the bottom line, that, kids need to feel safe, whether they're at home, at school, or anywhere else, and we need to provide it for them. And I think that's like, being here, the 3 of us actually brought us even closer together. They still fight, like, you have no idea. They fight, like, physically. Sometimes I have to put a barrier when we're sitting at the table, because, God forbid, one touches the other with something that's like, whoo.
Literally a physical barrier.
We did it when they were little, and now, like, I started, yeah. It happens, not every day, but it happens. Believe it or not, how as wonderful as they are, there are certain things that I still need to do. But they feel safe. And I wish, and it's hard for parents. It's hard when you don't understand, when you don't have enough support. It is hard to do so. If you are anxiety ridden, if you yourself cannot deal with this situation, then it's hard for you to be that strong person for your children. And I think, unfortunately, quite a few people struggle with that. I wish they were reaching out to others. And again, I've been on the phone more than ever the last month, but I have a few friends who struggle with anxiety, and I feel like I need to be a good friend, and I need to talk to them, and I need to help them as much as I can. But I think also that because of what I went through, coming out of an abusive marriage, that literally did not kill me. It made me stronger. And I think that that's why this situation doesn't really affect me as much as others, because I've been down before in a different way, but that gave me the strength that maybe others don't have. So.
You definitely are very strong. Definitely. And that was a really good point that you made about anxiety, and how if a parent is anxious around this, that is going to rub off on their children. And again, I keep saying this to you, but hats off for this openness that you have with your young people, your teens. That sounded far too official then. Because they feel safe to open up to you and to talk about their worries. And you said something earlier to me about having a conversation about COVID-19 and what you're doing right and what they think you're doing wrong. Very vulnerable.
Oh, yeah.
Very vulnerable.
Yes.
How did that go? I am intrigued.
So I have a list. Okay, let me just look at it. So, well, first of all, they pointed the divorce, that I was strong enough. I'm sorry. Are you asking me about the COVID or about what I did right or wrong? Because we were talking about two things that I don't know.
It is true. They were very similar there. COVID-19 first, but actually after that,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So because I'm part of a leadership in my school, I sort of had like inside information earlier than maybe others did. I was talking to the kids from the beginning and I was preparing them. I said, there is a big chance that we will be home. So make sure that you bring all the books and, like whatever you have at school, don't leave anything, shoes. I don't know. My daughter, with all the sports and everything, she has like 2 lockers that she was putting her things in. So like, make sure, that everything is home. And I did ask them, I said, I need to go and I need to go grocery shopping. Please send me a list of your necessities. What do you need? So we did that. That was a big thing. And constantly, talking about, they know the facts. There's a website that I've been using where it shows like all the statistics and everything. Even, again, some of the gory details, but that's the reality. And they're old enough, they can search everything. Google is wide open. So I'm not going to lie to them, because that's another thing I said to them. I always repeat, do not lie, because it will always come out. So I may not find out for a week or a month, but it will come out, and that's going to be worse. So I try to do the same thing. I do not lie, to them. So there was one time that my son wanted to go and play with his friends. And I said, now think about it. So there will be like 7 or 8 of you. And then if one is sick, then it's going to spread. And then you will go to your homes and so forth. I said, is that a good choice? Like if you want it, I'll drive you, but is that a good choice? So again, providing enough facts and then making them, or Max actually, to make his own decision, letting him to make his own decision was a good thing. And I always also stress to both of the kids that I trust them to the point, if they do something to lose my trust, then we'll take a next step. But so far, it's been okay. And so far, they've been making most of the right choices, according to my book. Hold on, what else? Okay, enough facts. We are safe. We have enough food. And yeah, no, they are actually very calm about it. There is like they can sleep. They don't have nightmares. They don't have anything. Oh, the only thing, I'm sorry, they are concerned about grandparents because they are older. So that's one thing. And like other family members that they know that they're older. So that's something. But again, we connect via FaceTime with grandparents in Poland. So they understand that everybody is safe and staying safe and healthy.
This open conversation that you have, it keeps coming back to that. So, any concerns they have, you're talking to them and reassuring. And I'm curious, when you ask them, what have you been doing right? And what have you been doing wrong? How they responded.
Okay, so I'll tell you so they told me like the divorce was one thing, and that was one of the things that I planned ahead for COVID, that we've had like everything in place before we got locked down. So they knew that they had enough food, they had enough materials, resources, whatever, that we have electricity, that, oh, see, that's a huge thing. They know that I get paid. They know, because my kids worry about money, because for years we struggled very much. And now they were very afraid, knowing that I'm not technically leaving the house to work. I said, you need to understand, I'm still working. It's just from far away, but I do get a paycheck. So we will have a house. We can afford groceries. We can afford normal things. But yet they understand that others cannot. So that's also, and again, kids should not worry about that kind of stuff. But my kids are aware. So again, I have to, I have to provide enough information for them and tell them that we are okay. And as long as I have a job, we are okay. And, chances are I'm not losing my job, knock on wood, wherever wood is. But we will be okay. That they like that we moved out of the house, even though it was very difficult for them during the divorce, and they did not want to, they wanted to stay in the house. They are actually grateful that we sold it. We bought a new place, new furniture, we had a fresh start. Giving them that opportunity was huge, and they realize it. So, I'm happy about that. They love the fact that I cook for them, that I provide for them, that they really have what they want, that we go on vacation together, that they understand that that instead of going to a brand name store, we'll go to TJ Maxx and, get them something. But they know that I'm doing it because I'm saving for vacation, because that's what's important for us. The spending time together, travel is part of what we do and how we make memories. So they appreciate it.
That helps them as well for when they move into adulthood and potentially have children, to prepare for that, and
so
to value.
Exactly. Yes. So before, they did not like the fact that I was cooking, that everything was made from scratch. That, other kids went to McDonald's and this and that and Taco Bell, and, and here's this Polish mother making chicken soup every Sunday. And now guess what? I have to make chicken soup every Sunday, because this is what they like. They cannot have a Sunday without it. So stuff
I
like
want
that.
chicken soup on a Sunday.
So that kind of a routine, those traditions that we have, they love the fact that we have such a huge circle of friends, that they have role models around them, adult role models around them that are very close to. And I think that that's another key, that they are like sane teenagers, that they always had chores. They realized that as much as they hated them for years, and they still do probably, having chores kept them grounded, kept them being responsible, and then they were always held accountable for their actions.
Good.
Right. I actually have two jobs. I used to be a Polish school teacher on Saturdays for about 20 years, and then I stopped when I got my Type 75, which is an administration degree. And I have been an adjunct at one of the universities in Chicago, teaching courses about bilingual education. So that job helps me with paying for the extras, like vacation, for example. So they appreciate it. They see it. They see how busy I am. But they know why I do it. It's not for another person, for a purse for like $2,000. It's for us as a family. And they appreciate it. They are independent. They are able to also like cook for themselves and do all the things that they realize that when they do go to college, they don't have to just survive on ramen or fried eggs or whatever. They can
Good
actually
preparation.
Yes.
I think I survived on beans and toast when I went to university.
We are very, very close. Like we said, that's something that, that I value the most. And then another thing is like, if they want something, I always say, is this a need or a want? Like, you don't need to have everything, because do you need to have what are those iPhone watches, like iWatches, right? Like, do you really need one? No, you don't. That's a want. Like, you have a phone on you have a watch on your phone. Like, really, you do not need an iWatch at age 13. Like, think about it. Also, be responsible with money. Both of my kids work. My daughter has been babysitting, and putting money aside. So it's not like, I always say, save some money, spend some money. Think about it. Like, you want to go on vacation, this could be your spending money. So again, they don't always agree, but then they're grateful that they do have money, put aside or something like that.
You sound like a very good mom, and not only, honestly, and not just a very good mom, but a very good role model.
Well, I try. Thank you. I really, really try, because, and again, like being in a country where you're not born, that's like an extra stressor on you, because when you have your relatives close to you, you have that circle, that network of your closest people. I don't have that. I only have my brother here. And then all my friends became my network, my family, basically. So that's what it is. But now, oh, and another thing, my children here know. And I know that a lot of parents are afraid to say no to their children. My kids hear that word. Not all the time, but they hear it. And I think that that's important. And, letting them fail, not saying, oh, you're so wonderful, of course you can. See, that's, I know that there are pros and cons to it, but I'm pretty, I give a compliment when it's due. I'm not going to just sugarcoat them like, oh, it's just not me. And, my daughter's beautiful. She's tall. She has like a model figure. But do I concentrate on her looks? No. I tell her that she is beautiful, but I concentrate on the things that she can do, on her intellectual ability and the way she carries herself and how caring and warm she is towards others. Those character qualities, the personality qualities, much more important. The beauty fades, but what's inside, remains. And I think that that's so important. And for them, and you would know it, the teenage girls are not always the nicest. And I told her, oh my gosh, okay, see, this is a great parenting moment. So once she was in first grade maybe, and she didn't like a certain girl. And when it was her oldest birthday, and she did not give that girl her invitation to her birthday. I got so upset. I'm like, you better do this. Or, and please do not judge me. It's awful. It's awful. But I'm like, I'm going to shave your head. Like literally, like something drastic. This is awful when I think about it. But she's looking at me. It's like, are you serious? I'm like, I am. And then we started the conversation. Why? I'm like, you cannot be excluding anyone. You do not need to be everybody's friend, but you need to be friendly. Like, think about how she feels. So I needed to like shake her first to start a conversation, because she would not listen to me. She is a very strong-willed child who you really need to find a way to get to. And that really got to her. She's like, ugh. But of course, they're not friends with the girl, and I didn't expect her to, whatever. but I needed her to see my reasoning. Of course, I never shaved her head. Everything was fine, but I was like,
I was waiting. I was waiting for it.
No, nothing like that. Nothing. No, but my daughter is the kind of child that when she was a year and a half, yeah, it was about a year when I started putting kids in timeout, just like for a moment, like, she would never, ever be in timeout. Never. Like I would have to sit with her. She's like, nope, I'm not going. I'm not doing. Everything was no. So she's been a challenge. Yes, my son has been much easier to over the years, and she's always been a challenge. So, but I let her get dressed however she wanted to, as long as it was decent, to this day. Well, when she was like 2 or 3, some of her outfits, my mother was like, what are you doing? You can't take her outside like this. I'm like, why not? She's not going to be 18 wearing a cape and goggles and, swimsuit outside. No, so stuff like that. But her creativity to this day is phenomenal. And I think that it's because I let her be who she was when she was little. And now, now it just pays off. So, so now, I was very strict about technology. My kids did not even watch TV during the week. They were only allowed to watch TV over the weekend. But again, they're teenagers now. Times have changed. But that's one thing, that they didn't have phones until they were in middle school. And they say that it all pays off. And they are actually very judgmental about others who are letting their young kids using iPads or watching too much TV. I'm like, whoo! I'm like, okay.
It worked.
It worked on you, right? So the things that they do not like about me is that I'm very controlling. And I try to to have my in everything. But I also explained it to them that as a wife of an alcoholic, I always had to be in control. And it's hard. It was hard. But that's how I learned. That was a learned behavior, and that's why I'm doing it. And believe it or not, they understood. They're like, oh, that makes sense now. I'm like, okay. And they just say, it's my way or highway. And then that I always don't, listen to them, or I put words in their mouth or whatever. But I'm very, as you can tell, I'm very energetic, passionate. And so yeah, sometimes I get ahead of myself, so they don't like that. And I think that that's pretty much, that's pretty much it. So yeah, they didn't really have many negatives. Oh, that I don't really say nice things about their dad, which is, I know, a horrible thing. I'm trying. So
you can't be too perfect.
No,
you sound pretty perfect to me. So.
No, but you know what? I'm also very aware of my faults. And then if I cross a line, I apologize and I admit my fault. Like you said before, you have to show you are human. You will make mistakes, and which I do.
Do you know, I love the way that you're accepting feedback off your children, positive and negative. Yeah. And that understanding of what your children are thinking, kind of feeling, and having a conversation about it, that must really help in your relationship. I'm wondering, are there any benefits to this lockdown, this COVID-19, for you and your family right now? What are they? What are the positives?
Just, just spending more time together, not being in a constant rush, being able to just be at home, watch a movie together, having a meal together and not in the car, on the run. Those evenings, this past year has been awful on all of us. I had to ask my brother, my neighbor, their dad here and there to help with driving, because we were constantly on the road, on the go. And I teach those classes at college like once a week on Wednesdays. I wouldn't come back until 10 o'clock at night. So they were at home, and I needed to make sure that they had food, that somebody was able to pick them up and drive them. And so the logistics of it all. And now it's quiet, it's peaceful. We all love it. And the fact that, like I said, even when Max is playing video games, he's still playing with his friends. They're constantly talking, laughing, having fun. It is great. He's still communicating, he is still in touch with his friends. So I can see that my daughter misses her friends more, like the physical contact. She's more on a quiet side. But they are both still in communication with others. So that's good. But like for us, and Ola is out like ecstatic because she can spend so much time with the cats right now, that it's like she is in heaven, because they like sleep on her bed and they're with her constantly. And that, again, I'm going back to like cooking and baking together. Both of my kids love it. So now we have like themed dinners, like we had
Nice.
butter chicken, and then Ola, we were supposed to dress in brown to go with the, brownish food that we were eating and stuff like I said, she's very, very creative, and I enjoy that. So things that we can do together in the house. So like we went downstairs because we just moved last year, and then there's still lots of boxes in the basement that we haven't really unpacked. So we went downstairs, and then they found their boxes with their things that I've saved since they were little, like, with schoolwork, with their letters and pictures and everything. And, once in a while we go through it, but they haven't seen those boxes for about 2 years. So they're like, Mom, look at that. Like, we love it so much. I'm like, I know. And like, remember this, remember that. So yeah, so it definitely brought us closer together. We are not sick of one another just yet. It might happen, but on Easter, see, we are allowed to leave the house. So it's a little bit different than in Europe. So on Sunday, we went on a mile-and-a-half walk together. And now they actually like, hey, how about if we do it every day? But of course, now like temperatures are freezing. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm like, no. And we try to exercise together. Okay, Zumba. My daughter's doing great. Me, not so much. But but just togetherness. I think that is the most important thing. If we can be
Togetherness.
together at this time without like coming up with crazy projects and stuff, just be that's the most that you can have. Because I know that people are, I don't know, just like doing different projects, coming up with different things. I don't know if we are too lazy to do anything like that, or we are just comfortable with how we are. They see me, watching movies, and then always like, hey, can I join you? So we'll just cuddle on the couch or in her bed and watch something. And we haven't had a chance to do so. So I, for one, I know that I'm okay with the way things are for now. And I'm one of those people that try to find positive in everything. So the one thing that I told them, I said, you know what? The positive thing about the timing of this whole horribleness is that it's not around Christmas time.
Yeah.
Because I would not be able to survive that. Because my Christmas is 30 people, my 30 closest people here, wonderful family time, and that would not be a good thing. So, like I said, we are still lucky. We have a house, we have the means, we have the ways, we are safe, we are fine. But I know that there are people who are not. And I think that those are the people, those are like the mothers that I talked about before, that I call and I ask. I have good relationships with many of them, and I ask flat out, do you need food? Are you safe? Are you okay? Do you need help? Because as a school, we have resources for them. So, we delivered lunches, we have groceries for them, and we drive from home to home. We delivered materials for the kids who are in primary grades, because they can't just be doing their work online. They need actual things. So we delivered those. So we are trying as much as we possibly can, because we are aware that those are the parents that, even due to language barrier, are not able to do a lot. And I am very, very blessed to be in this situation that I am. So if I can help out just a little bit, I think that, that I can.
Honestly, all that you're doing to help everyone, your caring personality, you're very compassionate, you're obviously kind of a center of your community. Your children will be seeing this, as they're growing up every day, and they're just going to turn into the most amazing people, and they sound like they already are.
Yeah, they're pretty good. They truly are. I am very, very blessed, and that's one thing over the years I've learned to, like I said, to find the positive in every situation, but also to be grateful for what I have. Having that has helped me tremendously, and I know that it could easily be like, oh, this is awful, what's going to happen, and we are going to die and everything. If we fall into this kind of pattern, it's not going to help anyone. We truly have to stay positive and help one another in any way that we can, like even by talking, even by just reaching out via phone, and knowing that there's somebody out there who you can talk to. That's huge. So
Edyta, do you honestly? It's so lovely listening to you, and I'm wondering, from everything you've said, and maybe there's something else, do you have one key message for parents out there during this really difficult time?
I think that, again, that trying as hard, as difficult as it is, trying to be positive and open, and enjoy the time that you are together. Because, and I actually read somewhere that, oh, we want things to be back to normal. I'm like, were those things really normal? Because I go back to my life in Poland as a child, how much time I had and how much time I was home with my parents. It's definitely very different than what I experience here. So I think that this is the bottom line. Tell your kids we are okay, we will be okay, and enjoy that time with the family. Even if you just hold them tight, and imagine that my 15-year-old boy will come up to me just randomly. Big hug, mama. Or start dancing with me and stuff. Yes. But we've always been big huggers, because that's the best way you can show someone, because words are empty, truly. If you don't show your actions, words mean nothing. But the hugs, the physical contact, there's nothing closer. And enjoy this time, because when this all goes back to normal, let's say, you will be thinking about the time that you were able to just sit down and breathe and sleep and drink coffee in your house, on your couch, and not in the car driving to work and, being stuck in traffic and stuff like that. So try to make the positive out of the situation.
Thank you so much. I love that last message. Enjoy. Enjoy your time together.
Yeah.
And that togetherness and connection and openness are so important in a parent-child teen relationship. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, your insights, your emotion, your story. Honestly, it's been lovely for me to listen to. And I imagine for everyone else out there that listens to this, you are truly a fantastic mom. And I would give you a big hug myself right now if I could.
I know. Thank you. This has been, it's a different experience, you know, because normally I talk with my friends, and this, you're so far away and talking about intimate things that are happening in my house is definitely a different experience. But like I told you before, if my message reaches someone who needs something positive in their lives, you know, maybe it would be it. And, you know, this, we'll always remember this, always. We'll always be referring to this time that's happening right now. So let's try to think of it as something that got us closer together. So.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And take care, stay safe, and enjoy your time together safely at home. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.